Today we're unboxing the Home Assistant Green, the latest addition to the Home Assistant lineup. Alright, so here's the Home Assistant Green in the box. And it's got, of course, the new logo for Home Assistant on it. And on the back are some specifications. You can see right there. Translucent enclosure, quad core, CPU, etc., etc. And then some marketing stuff up here to talk about. And then what's in the box, you get a cable and all that stuff. So let's open up the box and see what it looks like. I've never opened the box before, so we'll look at this together. Hello, home. Nice touch there. Of course, you get a sticker, and then you get a couple of quick start guides, some warranty and safety information, all the legal stuff in multiple languages. All right, and then we have the green itself. Ooh, got a nice solid feel to it. Let me move the box out of the way. Nicely wrapped up to protect it. Nicely wrapped up to keep me from getting into the box. All right, there it is. So what we have on here is we have the power connector, two USB ports, and we have an HDMI port, power button, and then a single Ethernet port. It's got a pretty substantial heatsink on it as well. And of course the translucent case that comes with it. So we'll set that over there. And then additionally in the box, we have Ethernet cable, as it says right there. So you get just a standard Ethernet cable that comes with it. It's metal, so should be pretty good. Just open it up. So you got metal connectors on here. I don't know if that's for RF shielding purposes or if that's for just strength or looks. It's pretty solid feeling cable too. It's probably solid core conductor, maybe. All right, for what that's worth. And then of course the power supply that comes with it. And because Home Assistant is usable in many countries, you have all kinds of different adapters for that. Here's that one. And then of course we'll use the US version of the adapter here. And then this is the power supply. I don't know if we can read the specs on it or not. Let's see if it'll focus on the specs. It is a 12 volt, 1 amp device or power supply. So maximum of 1 amp for that. And then of course you want to use it, you just do that. And now we have a barrel connector for a power supply. And that's what's in the box. So let's open it up and see what it looks like on the inside. Let me pull out my Torx screwdriver set here. What do we have on here? Just regular Phillips. So if I can find a regular Phillips in all of this, let's try this one. Nah, that's not going to work. We go with this one right here. Pop it open. Looks like just 4 screws hold it together. Heatsink on. Hold it. I'm trying to slide it out here. Let me get the screws out of the way. I think the screws are in the way. And one straggler. All right, 4 screws out of the way. There we go. So you can see here's the translucent case, which is, if you have a Home Assistant yellow, or I've seen those, this is pretty similar to that Home Assistant yellow. And then of course, here's the board. It's on here. It does have a place for a CR2023 battery, which is not included, but I will put that in there. Standard computer battery, little coin cell. And then on the back side here, you can see here that we have some heat a pad to conduct the heat to the heatsink for the processor here. And then some verbiage on the back of it with a website. I'm not going to go into too much detail on what the chips are, just kind of give you a quick look at the board itself. And that's it. That's the board. You've got some pins here, some jumpers, normal. I don't know what these things do necessarily, but you've got normal and whatever. It's in the normal position. You've got some, probably some test points here. Whoops. And then you've got some other GPIO stuff. I'm not sure what that's for either. And then you've got your LEDs that are along the bottom right here. Most important parts of the board, LEDs. All right, so the Home Assistant Green is very much a consumer, or meant to be a consumer-friendly device. And I can show you that because in the documentation, they basically tell you how to get it started here. You open up the box, you plug in your Ethernet cable, and you connect it to your router or switch. Most of us know how to do that, but because this is a consumer hub, or it's designed to be a consumer hub, we're going to be very specific. Connect the power to the outlet, turn it on. You've got to wait for the light to come on and turn into a heartbeat pattern. And then it goes through and talks about how to connect to it and the app and some other stuff. So this is very much a consumer type device. The idea is to get these in the hands of your average consumer who wants to do smart home stuff and be able to get up and running quickly. All right, so let's talk about what's on this thing here. Here's the data sheet for it. It has a Rock chip, RK350-3566 with a quad-core ARM Cortex CPU. It's 1.8 gigahertz. It's got 32 gigabytes of eMMC flash on it. It has got 4 gig of memory. I think you can buy an 8 gig version. And in fact, the one I have here, I don't know if I can even tell how much memory is on it by looking at it, but I don't know which version I ended up with here. I think they have an 8 gig version as well as a 4 gig version. All right. Obviously indoor use only with the standard temperature ranges. Keep it dry, all of that business. It's not a weatherproof enclosure or anything like that. It's just basically a plastic semi-transparent thing. And of course, it talks about the indicator lights and everything on here. White lights power, green lights activity, and yellow lights system health. And you've got some buttons here. Like I said, 12 volt DC, 1 amp, USB 2.0 ports, 2 of those. And I'm going to guess the reason why there's not 3.0, well, a couple of reasons, probably cost savings for one. Number 2, 3.0 typically causes interference with Z-Wave Zigbee stuff, primarily Zigbee stuff. And so typically you want to keep your Zigbee USB dongle far away from the ports. So maybe they've gone with USB 2.0 to keep the interference factor low. HDMI port, mostly you won't use that for anything unless you just need to really get in there and look at it. You've got a micro SD card and then a gigabit Ethernet port. Of course, the power off button says here 6 seconds to shut it down, or hold it 12 seconds to force the power off. And then here's all the rest of the information here. Energy consumption. This is one of the things that makes SBC small board computers nice, is that they don't use much power. You can run Home Assistant on your super expensive whatever server at 200 watts for a power supply, or you can run it on a Home Assistant Green for 1.7 watts at idle, or maybe 3 watts at load. So you have a significant power savings here. And then you have these ports, 5 volts up to 2 amps combined, et cetera, et cetera. And then here's all of the length and width information and weight, including accessories and packaging. Without the accessories and packaging, here's the thing. And then it tells you what's in the box. You got an EU, a UK, and a US plug, which I showed, and all the rest of that. Talking about the processor, let's just for a moment compare this with, let's say, a Raspberry Pi 4. The Raspberry Pi 4 has a BCM 2711, and the Rock chip, of course, is what's in the green. The differences here are negligible, 1.5 gig versus 1.8 gig for processor speed. Each has 4 cores. And then the single thread rating for the Pi is 607 and the green is 524. The CPU mark is H52 for the Pi and 991 for the green. And you can kind of see that right here. The single thread rating is a little bit worse on the green than it is on the Pi, and vice versa for the CPU mark rating. Of course, they don't have really the energy use costs really down here for anything. So really, this is not going to be a Pi replacement. This is going to be for those that want to start using Home Assistant. It comes with the Home Assistant OS pre-installed. You just turn it on, connect to it either with the app or, as I showed here in the getting started guide, you can either use the QR code here to download the app, or you can find the IP address, or just go to homeassistant.local. If you're running your network's a standard network, you should be able to just find it by going here. And then you can go through and finish the onboarding process here. Now, if you're curious what the onboarding process is, you've never done that before. Basically, it looks like this: create your smart home. And then it goes through all of the user setup, the location, help us help you. So the analytics stuff you can send back to Home Assistant. And then it'll go through and it'll find anything in your house that's already compatible. Now, it does not come with a Zigbee or Z-Wave setup. It is Wi-Fi only. So anything in your house that it detects as Wi-Fi, it will let you know about. If you have a Z-Wave network, or you want to build a Z-Wave or Zigbee network, you will need to get a Z-Wave or Zigbee dongle. They recommend the Sky Connect, although I use both the Sky Connect in my production as well as AOTech, or I believe it's AOTech Z-Wave dongle. I use both of those. One is for Z-Wave and one is for Zigbee. Once you get all that done, of course, then you just say finish, and now you go through and you've started up it. So again, this is just built for a consumer type application if you're just starting in the Home Assistant. Once you get it up and running, I do have a series of videos that tell you how to get things running on a Pi, but then you can use some of the later videos in my Back to the Beginner series to start adding integrations, what I consider some of the most important integrations to start with, and then what you can do from there. So overall, it looks like a nice device. It's made to, like I said, get you started. It's not for the power user if you're going to do super heavy stuff. Although for the most part, probably most everything I can run in my Home Assistant instance or my Home Assistant operation, I can run on the green. I do have a Home Assistant Blue, which is an Odroid N2 Plus. I have the Home Assistant Yellow, which is kind of my backup device that I use for playing with. And also it runs my secondary DNS. And I also have now this green, which aside from things like maybe the Frigate stuff, will run most everything on my network. So there you have it. Just a quick overview and unboxing of the Home Assistant Green. You can find these things, by the way, if you want to buy them. Let me find the link for that here. If you go to home-assistant.io/green, there's a buy now button at the top. You can click on that. You can find your latest or your nearest supplier, Ameridroid in the US. Looks like, do they have any in stock? Let me see. They do have the green here. There's it looks like it's a pre-order. And by the way, it's about $99 US for this box. And it looks like the first batch is November. So they don't have them yet here, but you can get on the pre-order list now. And they also recommend, adding in the Sky Connect. I would pre-order this as well if you want to get both of them for a total of $125-ish, $126 US dollars. So jump in there, order one, order the Sky Connect, and then you can start making your house smart. All right, thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button down below. And if you have any comments or questions, you can put those down there as well. We will see you on the next video.